Yeah, I mean, it's obviously he's been dealing with this a little bit for a few weeks now. It's disappointing, obviously, when you're limited and you can't perform to what you have shown us. You know what I mean? And so obviously you guys get to come out here and see it on a daily basis. Most of the fans don't. So it's but that's part of the game. You got to go out and perform when the lights come on, and injuries or not, it's part of it. And so we got to figure out what we're going to do. We're not there yet. We've got several different viable options. From, heck, even Longhetto. He's punted before. He punted for me at Cal. Obviously, Race, and then Hershey as well. So we've got three guys, and two of them have game experience. Hershey was the kicker and punter for me at Idaho State all last year, so he has real game experience, and so does, as I mentioned, Dario punted for me in 2019. So you know what, we're just gonna kind of work through it. Obviously, I've spent a lot of time working with those guys over the course since camp started. But it's different when you're in a game mode, and so we gotta assess a lot of things and try and put as much pressure as we can on them in practice. And but one of those guys, whoever we roll out there with, will be ready to go. I'm fully confident in that.
How do you sift through that, and then is it possible that you might use different guys situationally?
It definitely, that is a possibility. Obviously we've shown some other things. We've used scat, and that's obviously another possibility as well. And so that is something that we're looking at as well. I think it's one, it's just coming out here and putting them in situations and seeing how they respond. Not only stressful situations, but field position situations. All of those things, determine what type of punch you're looking for. I think a lot of people, and again, they shouldn't be expected to know, right? But you don't punt every ball the same. It's there's a lot of that goes into it, and so you just we've got to put them in those situations and see. You guys saw what we just did here at the end of practice, and that scenario right there is one where it was a great job by Hershey. So there's a multitude of situations. Put as much stress as we can on them in practice, and then go back, watch the film, and then say, okay, hey, this is probably our best chance. But I honestly, I've done this for a while now, and I feel very good about our options. We just, again, you got to get them to the gate, and then they got to go out there and deliver when it comes game time.
Had Josh mentioned how long he'd been dealing with this issue?
Yeah, we've known about it for it's been for 4 weeks, so it's been an off and on thing, but it's just one of those deals where he's fought through it and had some pretty good days out here in practice, but there's been days where it's bothered him more than others, and so it just again, I'm not going to sit here and say all of that's on not being able to perform. On being able to perform, right? So that would be that'd just be taking the easy way out. Is it part of it? Most certainly is, and he knows that, and he knows too. And then there's just you have to execute when you're called upon, and he's in a little bit of a funk right now, and he knows that. But I still believe that he's got a lot of ability in him, and that he can bounce back from this. But we got to get him healthy to give him that opportunity.
What's that challenge been like? Because your kicking's been really good, your coverage units have been good, and then that's one component when you're not scoring a lot of points that really matters.
Well, and I think it's tough, right? Again, you look at the game on Saturday, and obviously I worked for Justin for 5 years. I know what those guys are going to do. They know what I'm going to do. But, they're punting the ball from the 50-yard line, the plus 49, you know what I mean? It turns into a game of field position. And what people have to understand is when you're punting from that part of the field, and I'm not saying all their punts were, but some of their punts were, right? When you're punting, when you get to about the minus 40, right? 45, those are guaranteed fair catches. All you got to do is punt that thing 30, 35 yards. You're going to hang it up there, and you're going to get that ball somewhere in the 20, 15 range. And now the percentages go way up and make it harder on the offense to drive the distance of the field. Now, unfortunately for us, that kid had a career day, and hit a couple of big balls. We got a couple of good returns against him too. He outkicked his coverage, and the one, I'm going to call it what it is. Kudos. The young man had a great day, but the one that he hit was a shank and roll 25 yards. So, you're going to call it he hit a couple of monsters too now, so I take my hat off to him. I'm not taking anything away from him. But that was the one where we really got pinned on the 2-yard line, was the one that he shanked and it rolled, and sometimes that's the way it is. But not to get long-winded on you, I mean, at the end of the day, when you're in a tight game, man, being able to flip the field is a must. It's an absolute must, and we have too good of punters and too good of conditions to not be able to do that at a high level, and that's something that I take great pride in. I've coached several kids that have been all conference punters in this league, and Jamison Sheehan, was the most recent one. Those guys. I coached a kid down south for 2 years. That was all Drew Riggleman. It was all conference. It's obviously it matters, and to your point, especially when your offense is not as efficient as you would like it right now, you got to be able to help them out. It's a 3-phase game, and that's one piece, right, that we're lagging. And I think our return game has been pretty solid. Kickoff returns have had a nice one that helped us, but yeah, if you don't have that punt, that's a big one. And so we've got to get that ironed out and get that fixed and ready to roll here on Saturday.
We talk about the kickoff return as a coverage team really just elevated their game as evident against Cal.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you looked at that even against USC. Mm-hmm. I mean, that kid is special. To hold him to what we did, I think they started at the 13 or 14. Everything was inside the 20. I think it was 14, 16, and 18 on the 3 returns. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a big-time returner. And then, obviously, when you go to Cal and they try and run the first kickoff back, and, we stifle them on like a 12-yard return, 13-yard return, and then they fair catch the rest of them. That says something to our kickoff team. That's a pride thing, and I think those guys, as the season goes on and injuries occur, that's the hardest thing with special teams, right? Is when depth gets thinner, guys get moved around and have to go play, more reps at different positions, so they may have to come off of a special team. So you're always trying to move pieces, right? And the biggest thing to be good is getting those consistent reps. And so, we talked about that long and hard today. If there's a guy, we had to replace a guy on kickoff. And hey, you're stepping into an elite territory. That's the expectation. And so you have to continue to raise the bar. So when you step in, you step up. And I think those guys, you watch how they practiced today, was probably our best day. It's a sense of pride for them. And I think if we can continue to play at the level we have, it's going to be beneficial for our football team. But obviously the punt thing is something that we have to get fixed.
What are some of the things that you can do as a coach to give a new punter a softer landing jumping into it?
Yeah, well, I think there's several pieces to it, right? And again, we don't have all time in the world to tell you, but I will tell you a few. Like, one, it depends on the punter. Does he have the experience? Obviously that was the benefit of taking Josh Carlson as a 6-year senior, coaching the edges, right? I know I'm not going to spend as much time, whereas if I'm just coaching special teams, right, then I'm going to be able to spend a lot more time with the specialists. So a 6-year senior with the kicker, the snapper, you don't have to spend as much time. So again, it's going to depend on what's the experience of the punter. So that's the first thing. And then from there, what style of punter is he? Is he a directional punter? Is he a rugby punter? Is he a combo punter? And then from there, it's just modifying or tweaking the little techniques. A lot of the things that you see that we're doing right now is we're dropping our ball across our body. When you throw right-handed, right foot dominant, which our punter was, the natural drop is right to left. When I swing my leg, it's right to left. When I throw, my hand comes down to my left. It's right to left motion, right? So naturally, when I drop my ball, it's going to drop inside to the left. So I have to set my wrist and I have to set my elbow out just a little bit so that my ball stays in this plane right here, so that when I'm hitting that ball, I'm hitting it in the direction it needs to go. When it crosses, it's just like a golf swing, and I've seen yours. No, but you cross your body, right? It's not what you want. You've got to keep that thing straight. And so those are just a few things. And again, everyone is different. If we're talking rugby, where's the drop point? Because that ball changes. That drop point for a rugby punt is going to be vastly different than for a directional punter. And so those are all things that we have to look at and watch the film and correct them. It has to do with their wrist and how they hold the ball. Are they holding the ball too far in and hitting it fat? Are they slicing it? And all of that has to do with how they hold it in their drop. So there's a variety of things, and each punter is different. So it's just, focusing on, hey, who's the guy? And then trying to give him a couple things. Hey, these are the things that you need to do, and then let him go play fast.
Thanks, guys.